Okay, so far we've been dealing with differences related to the length of the vowel sounds and the length of diphthongs. We have just repeated the different diphthongs, and now we're going to move into a deep analysis of each of them. As we said some minutes ago, in this line you will find all the diphthongs ending in schwa. In this line, you will find all the diphthongs ending in I. And in this line over here, all the diphthongs ending in U. Now, let's continue. These are the categories of analysis of a diphthong. We can analyze a diphthong bearing in mind the phonetics point of view, that means the description of the sound itself, and bearing in mind the phonological point of view, that means how the sound is located in English words in this case. When speaking about phonetics point of view, we can describe the distance the tongue travels, that means the movement the tongue has from one point to another, that means from one element, the first vowel sound, to the second vowel sound. If this distance is short, we may say that the diphthong is a narrow diphthong. And if the distance is long, we may say that the diphthong is a wide diphthong. In the case of the direction in which the tongue goes, we can say that a diphthong can be closing if it moves to a close position, that means to a position near the palate, or centering if the diphthong moves to a vowel that belongs to the center of a chart of vowels, to the center. If we analyze the prominence of the first element, and the first element is more prominent than the second one, we may say that the diphthong is falling because the first element is stronger and then the second element is weaker. On the other hand, if the second element is a stronger and the first element is a weaker, we may say that the diphthong is a rising diphthong. When describing the position of the glide, we may say that a diphthong can be a front diphthong because the glide moves towards the front vowel, a centering diphthong because the glide moves towards the centering vowel, or a back diphthong because the glide moves towards a back sound. Of course, we're going to provide the lips position in the first element and then in the second element. And when speaking about a phonological point of view, we're going to describe in which position in a syllable the diphthong can occur. But these elements we've been speaking are difficult to understand if we do not analyze each of them. So let's see what happens. We're going to start describing the diphthongs. The diphthongs can be divided into two subcategories, that means centering diphthongs and closing diphthongs. Centering diphthongs are the ones ending in schwa and a. They are called centering because they move to a central vowel, as in the case of ia, ea, ua. All of them move towards a vowel that is in the center of a chart. If we speak about closing diphthongs, we can have two subcategories, the ones ending in I and the ones ending in U. When speaking about the ones ending in I, we find a, I, oi. When speaking about sounds ending in U, we have o and ow. If you pay attention, they are called closing because both I and U are vowel sounds that are in close position according to the palate. Let's see this chart. In this chart, we have the centering diphthongs, in which the glide is towards the schwa vowel. That means a centering vowel. So we have the diphthong ea, ia, and ua. Pay attention, they start from different positions, but all of them move towards a vowel in the center. That's why they are called centering diphthongs. Let's analyze the characteristics of centering diphthongs. We can see the movement of a tongue, and that is what we have just done. So in this case, these diphthongs are centering because all of them move towards a centering vowel sound. Then we can speak about prominence. That means when a sound sounds stronger than the other one. And we can say that they are falling because the first element is stronger than the second, but in the case of the diphthong ia, it may be rising in unstressed syllables, like in the case of period. The second ia is rising because the first element is not stronger than the second one. Analyzing the distance the tongue travels, all of them are considered narrow diphthongs. If you pay attention, the arrow we draw from one element to the other is a small narrow arrow, so that's why they are considered narrow diphthongs. When paying attention to the phonological characteristics of these diphthongs, we're going to see that in the case of ia, we can find this diphthong in initial position in a syllable, like in the case of ian, in medial position in a syllable, like in the case of beard, and in final position in a syllable, like in the case of dia. We say that this is initial position because there's no consonant element before the syllable. We say this is medial position because there are consonants before the diphthong and after the diphthong. We say this is in final position because after the diphthong we do not find any consonant sound. In the case of ea, we can find it in initial position, like in the case of ed, in medial position, like in the case of players, and in final position, like in the case of fair. And finally, in the case of ua, there are no English words starting with this diphthong. So you won't find any word starting with ua. But we can find words containing ua in medial position, like in the case of muad, and in final position, like in the case of cured.